Oliver stared out of the window, watching the raindrops cascade down the glass, as if the heavens were crying. It had been a month since he moved to the small town of Hollowbrook, seeking solace in the quiet countryside after a tumultuous past. Little did he know that the peaceful facade of this town would soon shatter. Hollowbrook was known for its charming church, a centuries-old structure that dominated the town's landscape. Its towering spire reached towards the sky, and its eerie silhouette cast long shadows in the moonlight. Every Sunday, the church bell would ring, inviting the townsfolk to gather for prayers and solace. Oliver, being new to the town, decided to attend the church service to familiarize himself with the community. As he stepped inside, the warm embrace of spirituality greeted him. But amidst the peaceful atmosphere, he noticed a stranger standing in the shadows, observing the congregation. The man had a sinister aura about him, which sent shivers down Oliver's spine. Over the next few days, Oliver noticed the same man lurking around the church and the town's surroundings. It was as if he was following Oliver, and the unsettling feeling grew with each passing day. Trying to dismiss his paranoia, Oliver attributed it to his troubled past, believing he was simply overthinking. One evening, while walking back to his cottage, Oliver heard footsteps behind him. He quickened his pace, but so did the footsteps. Panic gripped him as he realized he was being pursued. The eerie sound of laughter echoed through the deserted streets, intensifying Oliver's fear. He took a sudden turn, hoping to lose his pursuer, but the man persisted. As Oliver neared the church, he took a chance and ran inside, seeking refuge. The church felt colder than usual, and an eerie silence engulfed him. The stranger's laughter resonated from the outside, making Oliver's heart race. In the dim light, he saw a group of people gathered near the altar. Desperate for help, he approached them. To his surprise, they seemed oblivious to his presence. It was as if they were trapped in a trance, their eyes vacant and their bodies motionless. Oliver turned to leave, but the creaking of the church door froze him in his tracks. The sinister man stepped inside, his eyes locking with Oliver's. There was a malevolence in that gaze that chilled him to the bone. The stranger raised a finger to his lips, signaling Oliver to stay quiet. Unable to comprehend the situation, Oliver obeyed the silent command, hiding behind a pillar as the man approached the motionless figures. With a wicked smile, the stranger began whispering something inaudible, like an incantation, and one by one, the trance-bound congregation followed his lead. Their bodies swayed unnaturally, as if possessed by an unseen force. The scene was nightmarish, and Oliver's instincts screamed at him to flee, but he was paralyzed with fear, unable to tear his eyes away from the terrifying spectacle unfolding before him. The man's haunting laughter echoed through the church as he reveled in his sinister control over the townspeople. As the minutes passed, Oliver felt a growing unease that he might be next. He needed to escape, to find help, but his trembling legs refused to move. Just when the situation seemed dire, the sound of approaching footsteps filled the church. A local police officer, Officer Jenkins, entered the church with a flashlight in hand, searching for any sign of disturbance. Oliver's heart leaped with hope as he witnessed Jenkins' arrival. The sinister man turned towards the officer, his face contorting with a mix of fury and glee. The trance-bound townsfolk also shifted their attention, their vacant eyes now fixated on Jenkins. Oliver saw his chance to escape and quietly slipped away from the church, careful not to draw any attention. Outside, the rain had intensified, pouring down like a torrent. Oliver ran through the muddy streets, seeking safety at the town's inn. Bursting through the door, he was met with concerned gazes from the inn's occupants. Breathlessly, he narrated the horrifying events at the church and the ominous figure who seemed to control the townspeople. The innkeeper, Mrs. Thompson, shared a knowing look with one of the guests, a historian named Professor Larkin. Professor Larkin had been researching Hollowbrook's dark history for years, and he knew all too well about the malevolent presence that had haunted the town for centuries. He explained to Oliver that the sinister figure was rumored to be the vengeful spirit of a cult leader who was executed centuries ago. The cult leader had been hell-bent on destroying the church and the town along with it. Legend had it that he made a pact with dark forces to ensure his spirit would endure through time, seeking revenge on the town's inhabitants. As the night wore on, Oliver, Mrs. Thompson, and Professor Larkin devised a plan to confront the malevolent spirit and break the curse once and for all. They would need to find a way to free the townspeople from the trance and banish the vengeful entity. But little did they know that the sinister figure had sensed their intentions and was ready to retaliate. As the clock struck midnight, a bone-chilling scream echoed from the church, signaling that the confrontation had begun. The trio hurriedly made their way back to the church, their hearts pounding with trepidation. The rain had subsided, leaving a misty aura that enveloped the town. The church stood before them, its ancient walls holding secrets that would soon be unveiled. Inside, they found the townspeople still in their trance-like state, but the malevolent spirit was nowhere to be seen. The sinister figure had taken possession of one of the churchgoers, using them as a vessel to confront Oliver, Mrs. Thompson, and Professor Larkin. "You dare challenge me?" the possessed person growled, their voice an eerie combination of their own and the malevolent spirit's. "I have waited centuries for this moment, and I will not be thwarted." Oliver's resolve wavered, but Mrs. Thompson held his hand firmly, her determination unwavering. Professor Larkin took out a small leather-bound book, the town's ancient grimoire, and began chanting a counterspell to break the curse. With each word spoken, the trance began to wane, and the townspeople slowly returned to their senses. Fear and confusion etched on their faces. They backed away from the possessed individual, creating a circle of protection around Oliver and the others. The malevolent spirit fought back, attempting to maintain its grip on the vessel, but the townspeople's collective energy was too strong. The vessel convulsed, the malevolent presence finally losing its grasp as the person collapsed to the ground, unconscious but free from the spirit's hold. In that moment, the sinister figure materialized before them, a swirling dark mist taking form, revealing the vengeful spirit's terrifying visage. Professor Larkin continued his incantation, directing it towards the spirit, while Mrs. Thompson and Oliver held hands, adding their energy to the counterspell. A battle of wills ensued as the spirit resisted, trying to intimidate them with visions of their darkest fears. But Oliver's past struggles had taught him strength, and he refused to be cowed by the malevolent presence. Drawing on his courage, he stepped forward, meeting the spirit's cold, malicious gaze with unwavering determination. "You have no power over us anymore," Oliver proclaimed, his voice steady despite the fear in his heart. "This town deserves peace, and we will not let you destroy it." As the words left Oliver's lips, a blinding flash of light erupted from the grimoire, engulfing the spirit in its brilliance. The malevolent presence shrieked in agony, its form dissipating like smoke in the wind. When the light finally subsided, the church fell into an eerie silence. The malevolent spirit was no more, its curse broken, and the town of Hollowbrook was finally free from its dark past. Days turned into weeks, and life in Hollowbrook gradually returned to normal. The church, once a haunting reminder of its troubled history, now stood as a symbol of hope and unity. Oliver had found a sense of belonging in this town, and the townspeople warmly embraced him as one of their own. The sinister figure that had haunted Hollowbrook was but a distant memory, a story whispered among the townsfolk during gatherings and festivals. Oliver, Mrs. Thompson, and Professor Larkin became the unsung heroes of Hollowbrook, their courage and resilience etched into the town's folklore. As the years passed, Oliver would often find himself sitting in the church, his gaze fixed on the ancient walls that had borne witness to so much darkness and now held the promise of a brighter future. In the quiet of the church, he would sometimes hear faint laughter, but it was no longer sinister. It was the laughter of the townspeople, celebrating their newfound peace. And so, the tale of Hollowbrook's dark chapter came to an end, its conclusion etched in history, reminding all who heard it of the strength that lies within the human spirit to overcome even the most malevolent of forces. In the small town of Ravenwood, nestled between the dark woods and the murky lake, stood an ancient church that had been there for centuries. The locals whispered tales of eerie happenings around the church, and it was said to be cursed. But to Lila, a curious and adventurous young woman, these stories were merely superstitions. She found the old church fascinating and couldn't resist the urge to explore its secrets. One misty evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lila decided it was time to uncover the truth. Armed with her flashlight and a sense of determination, she ventured into the abandoned church. The wooden door creaked ominously as she pushed it open, and the air inside was heavy with an unexplained coldness. With each step, Lila's heart pounded louder, but she continued exploring the dimly lit interior. Intricate stained glass windows adorned the walls, casting eerie shadows that danced eerily in the flickering light. As she delved deeper, she noticed strange symbols etched into the walls and floor, their meaning unclear. Suddenly, a distant echo reached her ears. Faint whispers seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. Goosebumps covered Layla's skin as she strained to make out the words, but they remained unintelligible. She couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was watching her every move. As she reached the heart of the church, a hidden chamber revealed itself behind a stone wall. The feeling of trepidation surged through her, yet she couldn't resist the urge to investigate further. With trembling hands, Layla brushed away the layers of dust to reveal an ancient diary and a small peculiar amulet. Curiosity overcoming fear, she opened the diary and began reading the chilling accounts of a priest who had lived centuries ago. The entry spoke of a dark ritual performed within the church to appease malevolent spirits. The more she read, the more convinced Layla became that the church was indeed cursed. Layla knew she had stumbled upon something deeply unsettling, but the mystery had gripped her entirely. The words in the diary revealed a tale of despair, regret, and a thirst for forbidden knowledge. The amulet she found seemed to hold a malevolent aura that sent shivers down her spine. As Layla continued her research, she discovered the legend of the Wraiths of Ravenwood. According to the legend, the spirits of those who had been sacrificed in the dark ritual still haunted the church, seeking revenge on anyone who dared disturb their resting place. She wondered if the strange occurrences in the town were connected to these restless spirits. The more she delved into the history of the church, the more Layla realized that the town's elders knew about the curse, but chose to keep it hidden. They believed that acknowledging the curse would only amplify its effects, and so they remained silent, hoping to protect the townsfolk. Haunted by the chilling revelations, Layla couldn't shake the feeling of being watched even when she left the church. Shadows seemed to follow her, and strange sounds echoed in her ears at night. The curse of the church had latched onto her, and escape seemed impossible. Layla's obsession with the curse began to take a toll on her sanity. Sleep eluded her, and fear consumed her every waking moment. She knew she had to break the curse, but the diary offered no solutions. In a desperate attempt to find answers, she sought out an elderly woman rumored to be a wise sage, well-versed in the town's dark history. The woman, named Isabel, lived on the outskirts of Ravenwood, in a house that appeared as old as time itself. Isabel listened intently to Layla's account of her experiences, her face growing solemn with each passing word. She confirmed the existence of the curse, but cautioned Layla that breaking it would come at a great cost. Undeterred, Layla pleaded for Isabel's guidance. The sage finally agreed to help, revealing that the amulet she found in the church was the key to breaking the curse. It had to be returned to its rightful resting place in a hidden chamber beneath the church, where the dark ritual had taken place. However, the ritual required an immense sacrifice to appease the vengeful spirits. The gravity of the task weighed heavily on Layla's heart, but she knew it was the only way to free herself from the curse and save the town from its malevolent grip. Layla's heart wavered between fear and determination, torn between the desire to break the curse and the dread of what it would demand from her. The path ahead was dangerous and uncertain, but she knew she couldn't turn back now. With Isabel's guidance, Layla prepared for the ritual. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the church as she entered through the aged wooden doors. Holding the amulet in her hand, she made her way to the hidden chamber where the dark ritual had been performed centuries ago. The chamber was cloaked in darkness, but the flickering candlelight Layla brought with her illuminated the sinister symbols etched into the walls. She began to chant the incantation that Isabel had taught her, the words echoing in the stillness of the church. The air grew heavy with an otherworldly presence as the spirits of the wraiths of Ravenwood awakened from their restless slumber. Suddenly, ghostly apparitions emerged from the shadows, their hollow eyes fixated on Layla. Fear gripped her heart, but she steeled herself to continue the ritual. The spirits demanded justice for their untimely demise, and only a true act of sacrifice could quell their fury. With tears streaming down her cheeks, Layla offered a heartfelt plea, promising to honor the memory of those lost souls if they would spare the town and release her from the curse. The spirits wavered, their ethereal forms pulsating with emotions, and for a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. In an act of astonishing courage, Layla plunged the amulet into her chest, feeling an excruciating pain surge through her body. The spirits let out an eerie wail, their malevolence transforming into sorrow and empathy. The amulet, soaked in her blood, released a blinding light that engulfed the chamber. When the light finally subsided, the spirits had vanished, and Layla lay on the floor, her strength draining rapidly. Isabel rushed to her side, ensuring that she had survived the sacrifice. Though weakened and in pain, Layla smiled, knowing that she had broken the curse and freed the town from the darkness that plagued it for centuries. News of Layla's bravery spread throughout Ravenwood, and the townsfolk were both grateful and remorseful. They had failed to acknowledge the curse for too long, and it took a daring outsider to confront their demons. From that day on, the church became a place of reverence and healing, a reminder of the price one young woman paid to protect the town from its past. Layla's journey, however, came with a cost. Though the curse was lifted, she bore the scars of her sacrifice. The town honored her as a hero, but she knew she could never truly return to her old life. The spirit's presence lingered within her, a constant reminder of the darkness she had faced and conquered. As the years passed, Layla became a recluse, living on the outskirts of Ravenwood, much like Isabel. She had found solace in studying the ancient artifacts of the town and preserving its history. Though haunted by the past, she also found purpose in ensuring that the horrors of the curse would never repeat. And so, the Church of Ravenwood stood as a silent witness to the tale of bravery and sacrifice, a reminder to future generations of the courage it took to confront the unknown. The town prospered, and the legend of Layla, the outsider who had faced the curse head-on, passed down through the ages. But within the walls of the church, some claimed to still hear whispers on dark and stormy nights, a faint echo of the restless spirits that had once roamed its halls. Whether it was the wind playing tricks or the spirit's final farewell, none could say for sure.